Hi, welcome or welcome back to Books and Bocadillos. My name is Maria Andrea, and I have like a combo video. So the first part of this video is the second tome around book tag. I was tagged to do this back in the month of May, I think, like early May. I'm saying it like it was so long ago. It was just last month, about 3 weeks ago. I was tagged by Pat at Book Chat with Pat. So thank you, Pat, for tagging me. This tag was originally created by Julie at Bookish Travels One. And I'll link those channels in the description box and we'll get started. So, question number one, a book you bought for its cover. Okay. There's a couple of books I bought for their cover. So, a tome, I'm putting at a book that is 400 pages and more. The first book that I bought for its cover, there's a few that I want to talk about. So this one is Emily of New Moon by Alan Montgomery. When I saw this cover, I thought this is the cover that I want for my Emily of New Moon. I've only purchased this one. I don't have the whole series, but this was my favorite Emily of New Moon cover. I'm intrigued about vintage copies of this, but for now I saw this and I really love the blue background. And I like the moon. I liked, of course, Emily of New Moon, but I really like that like dusky feel of the cover. And I also purchased this one, If You Leave Me, a novel by Crystal Hannah Kim. I didn't say Emily of New Moon how many pages, but it's over 400 pages, and this one is 414 at 414 pages. I have If You Leave Me, a novel by Crystal Hannah Kim. I just love this floral jacket cover. The original cover is just a green, but it's a really pretty green. I like to decorate my shelves, so like the green will go with Christmas. Sometimes I think like a Grinchy vibe with like all different shades of green. That would be really fun for my bookshelves. This would also go for like a 16 de septiembre celebration of just like the red, white, and green. So I really like the green uh, spine original binding, but this beautiful floral cover really sold me. And this one I bought for the cover. Les Mis, I had the audiobook and I was going to listen to this over the year with Melinda at Web Stories and the Discord group last year. And even though my plan was to do the audio, when I saw this cover, I just had to because it's such a beautiful cover. It's got the French flaps and look at those beautiful French flaps. So I really I love a French flap and I just love this cover, and it has deckled edges, which is my weakness. So this was like a perfect package for me. And this one also has the deckled edges. The If You Leave Me has deckled edges, which I love. So that. And this one is not 400 pages or more, but it's an art book, and it is the page count is 287, plus there's a chronology, so it's maybe closer to 300, but like 290 maybe total. But for an art book, this is a big book. And it is The Diary of Frida Kahlo, an intimate self-portrait introduction by Carlos Fuentes. And the title is A las Rotas, or that's the theme. So this is an art book, and it's a diary of Frida Kahlo. So it's got letters and entries. It also has artwork. So for an art book, it's pretty hefty, and I just love the cover so much. This is the jacket cover. The the cover itself, the binding is pretty simple. It's just this, which I do love, the minimalist style of just this without the jacket. So um, I love Frida. I love Frida's art, and I just really enjoyed this cover. I actually, when I first saw this in the store, I saw it at a Barnes and Noble, and the only copy they had was torn. The jacket itself was torn. I was like, no, I just love the jacket so much. I want to special order it so that I get a pristine new copy. So this is definitely one that I went out of my way to get a pristine, brand new book that wasn't torn. Show us an unexpected find. Well, I'm going to say this is unexpected. I don't know that this is what the question is asking for, but Claudia Pinedo's El tiempo de las moscas, in the time of the flies in English, but the Spanish rounds out at 404 pages. It just barely makes that tome count. But this book, you could see I tabbed it all over the place. I really love this book. And I think it's unexpected because I was not expecting to love this book as much as I did. I think this might be my favorite Pinedo. So this book was unexpected in the sense that this is kind of like a sequel. It follows Inez, which we meet in the novel Tuya, which is one of Pinedo's earlier works. And in the way of sequels don't tend to live up to the first, right? So I wasn't expecting to love it more than I enjoyed Tuya, or All Yours in English, is the English title. So all in all, this was totally unexpected. I loved it so much. I enjoyed it more than Tuya or All Yours. And I just I just love this book so much. You could see I just really got on with it. So this was completely unexpected for me. Question number 3. You have a book you enjoy that you bought new, but then you find a used book that has a better cover. Do you get rid of the original? Do you get the second one? Or do you keep both? I don't know. I'm trying to think. I don't know. Okay, so I'm thinking my East of Eden book. It's upstairs. I didn't bring it down, but my East of Eden book is my high school book. It's the book I read my junior year in high school. It's a little worn. It's a little tattered. But it's my high school book. I think that if I were to find I bought it new. But it has been very, very used. And now if I found a used copy of East of Eden that had a better cover, maybe that was like larger. I have the small like East of Eden book. It's like little, it fits in my like, has a tiny, tiny print. Oh my gosh, now I don't know that my eyes would be able to tolerate that print. So if I found a used copy that had a nicer cover or that just had like larger print, I would probably switch them out. I wouldn't feel compelled to keep both. Yes, there's a nostalgia of that was my high school book, but I could always pass that along to someone else, maybe that is in high school and that has a pair of really good eyes and is really interested in not spending a lot of money on a brand new East of Eden. So I would probably switch that one out. That's the only one that I can think that comes to mind. I'm sorry I don't have a picture of it to show, but it's in another part of my house, and I'm like, I don't really want to go climbing up to try to retrieve this book. Then the next question is there a book series that you have challenged yourself to collect purely from used book charity shops? I wouldn't say that I've challenged myself to collect because I'm not collecting, but I am purchasing these only used copies of this one and anything by Leanne Moriarty. So I've read I started with What Alice Forgot, and then I read Big Little Lies, and this is my next Leanne Moriarty, The Husband's Secret. also like Nine Perfect Strangers. I think that one is one that's I haven't found, but I had been looking out and I could only find like the series cover. But anyway, I'm only buying these used because I tend to like read them pretty fast and then I'll just return them to the used bookstore and let somebody else enjoy them. But I'm not willing myself to collect all of Leanne Moriarty's books, but I do want to read them all. So because I do want to read them all, I'm just buying them from the used bookstore. If there's one that I absolutely like want to keep on my shelves forever and ever, I might purchase a copy of it. But so far, I've been happy to just read it, enjoy it, share it with the world, and if I ever want to reread it, they're pretty easy to find. So I could always either get a copy from the library or find another used copy or even like borrow an audiobook. So yeah, um, this is my next Leanne Moriarty, and this one is 445 pages. 5. Show us books you've bought purely for nostalgic reasons. Okay, so the first nostalgic purchase is Fanny Flagg's The Whole Town's Talking. I love Fanny Flagg. I find her storytelling to be very nostalgic. I really loved Fried Green Tomatoes. I loved the book and I loved the adaptation. Like, that's the one where I think the adaptation did the book justice. I really enjoyed it. I could rewatch that. I could reread that often. And so this one, because I love the nostalgic feel of Fanny Flagg's writing, I purchased for the nostalgia. I have not yet read it, but it's on my shelves and I do want to read it. And it's got the deckled edges. It's a hardcover, and it rounds out at 402. So if anybody wants to read any of these books that I'm talking about, just let me know if anybody would want to read this one. A buddy read would make me want to read it sooner rather than later. And I think this is a really great summer book. So yeah, I would love to have a buddy to read this with. Or Leanne Moriarty books. I'm always interested in having a buddy for those. It'll get me to get to it sooner rather than later. Oh, another nostalgic book is this one, The Marvels by Brian Selznick. This is a really nice um, book. I tend to always try to find these at my friend's bookstore, at the local indie bookstore. I have read The Invention of Hugo Cabret, and I have Wanderstruck as well, and that's my third in the collection. I have not yet read The Marvels, but I'm really interested in getting to it. And I love these because it's got like really cool art in it. And this ends at 665 pages. So it is a tome, and it's ones that I feel very nostalgic about. I always feel like it takes me back to childhood, and I love the feeling of like time travel or just escaping into like a fantasy world, and these books just feel super nostalgic, and I think it kind of does something in me where it connects me to my childhood self and my younger self, and I just love it so much. Question number 6. When you buy a used book, but you find out there are a lot of scribbles in it, do you get annoyed? Um, no, just because I find it doesn't mean I have to purchase it, right? So if I'm at a used bookstore and I find a book that's full of scribbles, if it's if I want it, I'll buy it, and if I don't, I don't. If I don't want to buy it with scribbles, if I want a new, then I'll just look for it new. I think it just depends on the book. Some books maybe I just really want to read, but I don't want to spend the money on reading that book. I just kind of want to like save some money. So if I, for the sake of saving some money, it's not a book that I want to keep on my shelves if it has scribbles. That's fine. There's books that I scribbled as a kid. Um, my mom had a Juan Rulfo book, Villano en Llamas, and I scribbled the heck out of it. You could say that in my childhood, I was practicing being a reader and annotating, and I was, hey, I was sitting with the book and I had a pen and I thought I knew what I was doing, and it was all just scribbles. I couldn't read that book, but it was a fascinating book cover to me, and I really wanted to read it as a young kid. So I can empathize with how a book would end up with scribbles. And if a child took delight in a book, that's great. That's great. I always have a choice if that's a book that I want to borrow or to buy, even if it's just for a short time and I know I'm not going to keep it. Now, if I were to really enjoy the book and I wanted to keep it, I might return, like I might just put that one in like a free little library or take it back to the used bookstore. Um, Sometimes I donate books to my friend's bookstore or to the friends of the library. Or, I could always get it back in circulation somehow and purchase like a brand new book if I really thought I want to reread this and I want it on my shelves and I want to like have future experiences and I want a nicer copy. Then that's always a choice that I can make. Also, how do you feel when you open a book and there's a note saying something like, "Happy birthday, dear so and so. I hope you enjoy this book"? I don't have a problem with it. I think it's endearing. I've written in books like that too, and I find them all the time, especially at library sales. Um, I actually have this book here by Kirsten Valdez Quaid, and it's kind of, oh, she dedicated this book. It has her signature, and she wrote in a dedication. I won't say for who, but um, she dedicated this book to somebody and signed it, and I got it because it was a signed copy. I don't mind that it has an inscription for somebody else. It's fine. I think, man, that person didn't appreciate this book, and I think they're missing out because I think it was a great book. Question number 7: when you enjoy a used book, do you keep it, exchange it for a nice pristine new version, or give it back to the charity shop? I think I've already answered this. If I enjoy a used book and I really want to keep it, I probably would. I'd probably give it back. If I enjoyed it and it was a used book, I want somebody else to enjoy it. If I enjoyed it so much that I want my own copy and I loved it so much that I'd be willing to spend more money on it, why not? Or maybe get the audio version for a future reread. I would do that. I don't think I need to keep two copies. Like there are books that I keep like multiple copies. Like I think I have multiple Draculas because it covers. I have multiple um Great Gatsby. The Great Gatsby is one of my all-time favorite books, and I will buy every cover there is. I have a couple of Pedro Paramos because I just love collecting the different covers for Pedro Paramo. So yeah, I there are books that I just love so much that I want to have them in different editions. Um, yeah, I'm trying to think if there are any other ones, but the Great Gatsby, I have several. Dracula, I have a few, and Pedro Paramo, I have at least 2 or 3 Pedro Paramo. Tag others. Okay, so big books. I don't know. I was gone for a while. I was kind of checked out for a little while, so I don't know who's done this, but in um in the spirit of Big Book Summer, I'm gonna tag Sue Jackson and Melinda at Web Stories. If either of them haven't done this and they want to do it, then they're tagged. Um, I also want to tag my friend Kat at Curious Cat. I don't know if she's done it. I don't know if she's into it, but if she wants to talk about big books and talk about these like finding gems in bookstores and returning or keeping or whatever, if this is a conversation that you want to have on your channel and I haven't mentioned you, but you enjoyed watching this video, then consider yourself tagged. I'm gonna pause here before I go into talking about Big Book Summer. I'll see you in a moment. Okay, I am back to talk about Big Book Summer. Big Book Summer is an event that I have been participating in this is my third year doing Big Book Summer. And Big Book Summer is an event that was created by Sue Jackson at the channel Sue Jackson. And this year, Melinda from Web Stories is also hosting, and she's a co-host for the event. So today I have a TBR, but mostly a pile of possibilities. So I'm going to go through a lot of books, big books on my bookshelves, and I'm not going to read all of these books, like for sure, not going to get to all of them. But some books I will, and I'll start with the ones that definitely will be read. And then you'll start to see, I'll let you know when I'm like looking at, well, these books have been on my shelves for a while. I'd like to get to them at some point, and I may not have the capacity to get to them this summer, but I'm curious to see if you've read any of these books, which of them would you prioritize for a future event or further along down the year, or if any of the big books that I mentioned that I'm not going to get to quite in the summer, if there's anybody that wants to buddy read them at another point in the year, let me know. So the ones that are definitely getting read, I'll start with this one, The Grapes of Wrath. So for Summer of Steinbeck, and also Melinda from Web Stories and I had already planned to read this, and then a few other booktubers and subscribers wanted to join the buddy read as well. So it's a lot of fun to read together. So I'm really excited to be reading The Grapes of Wrath with two different groups of people, two different Voxer, or one Voxer, one Discord, I think. No, two Voxers, I think. And just excited to talk about The Grapes of Wrath. This is an American classic. It is one that I did not read in high school, and I have been wanting to read for a really long time. So this is a classic that I must get to as soon as possible, and it's going to happen this month. In the month of July, the group that is doing Summer of Steinbeck is also reading East of Eden. Yes, I went upstairs to get my copy for this portion. This is my old tattered high school book that I read. You could see the print is tiny. My 16-year-old self did not have a problem reading this, and I have notes that I left for myself. So it'll be really interesting to, I guess this is like from my book group, I had to write a paper on it. So I left little notes to myself for my book report, like markers. There was a passage in this part that I had to memorize, and so it's part of my project. You could see like how tattered the book is, like the brown copy, like the back that's falling apart. So I'm really excited to reread this novel. I loved it so much. It was one of my favorite books that I read in high school. Probably one of the top 5. And I cannot wait to get back into it, especially seeing how I left notes for myself throughout. I'd love to find that paper that I wrote for that, my junior English class. So yeah. Then another book that has been on my TBR, I've had it on my TBR every summer for the last 3 years, have not gotten to it. Definitely need to. I already got the audiobook to help me along, and it's this one, The Shell Seekers by Rosamund Pilcher. This is one that has been recommended to me over and over and over again, and I really want to get to it this year. So that's why I was able to get an audiobook of it and have this paperback copy. I really love the feel of this book. It's a used book. It feels very lived in. I love how like soft it feels to the touch. I like paperback that feels lived in. It's very comfortable and comforting. I started this book last year, and I told myself I need to watch the movies before I can finish. I only read, like, I probably got halfway through the first third, and then decided, no, I really want to watch the movie. So I'm gonna try to take this back on this year, this summer. So Dune, the saga continues this year. Okay, so these are the for sure want to get to. Finish what I started, reread some books with people, read a couple of books that have been recommended, read a classic I haven't read. Those are all usuals. Now, this next one is one that would be great to read this summer and possibly include it in my TBR for the August reading event I'll be hosting with Sui in August. We're planning to come up with an announcement video for it, but I would like to read Bridge of Clay by Marcus Zusak. I love The Book Thief, and because I love The Book Thief so much, I want to read everything Marcus Zusak has written, and this one is the one that I have on hand that I have not read, so I'm hoping to get to it. And it's a big book. It is 534 pages, so this would be great if I could finish it. Okay, this one is one that I've been reading for years, and every 4th of July, every July, I kind of read a chapter and read a chapter. And so this is one that I'm not going to read in its entirety, but I'm probably going to just continue the slow reading of it. And it is These Truths, A History of the United States by Jill Lepore. I think this is a really great history book, and I have enjoyed what I've read. Like I said, usually on the 4th of July, before we go watch the fireworks, I'll find a moment to just cozy up and get a little bit of reading done. And I am really enjoying the history as told by Jill Lepore. I really love history books. I wish I read more of them in the year. Okay, this one I haven't read, and I feel like I'm the last person on any kind of bookish media to have. This one has been super popular. I haven't read it, and I feel a little bit of like shame for it. And it is A Gentleman in Moscow by Immortals. Haven't read it. Would like to read it. It's been sitting on my shelves for a long time. It's got my beloved deckled edges. It would be great to read it so that I could engage in the discussion of it. And it is 462 pages. So sooner or later, I'm going to have to get to this one. Next, this one has been highly, highly recommended, and I try to read a Kristen Hanna every year, and this one is one that I have not gotten to, but it's probably the most recommended Kristen Hanna book ever, and that's The Nightingale. So I haven't read Kristen Hanna this year. I would like to continue reading at least one Kristen Hanna a year, and I really would like to get to it. It's a pile of possibilities. Let me know if you've read it. Do you recommend an audiobook of it? That might help if I get the audiobook, that might help to get it read. And this one is 564 pages. Okay. I'm not going to get to this one. I would love it if I could. Like, it's a very delusional TBR. I would try to fit this in, but we read Night of the Fiestas in the month of May for the Books and Bocadillos book club, and I'll talk more about that. But one of the short stories in Night of the Fiestas is The Five Wounds, and she wrote her short story collection. The Five Wounds was then written into a novel, and so this is the novel that is the extension of the short story, The Five Wounds, in the Night of the Fiestas short story collection. It was such a good short story. Oh my god. It was so good. A lot of those stories were really, really good. There was not one story that I didn't like, which I'll talk about later, but this one, I can see why it was just fleshed out into a full-length novel. This is one that I think would make a good adaptation. It would make an amazing adaptation. And the page count for this is 416 pages. So this is going to get read at some point. Probably not Big Book Summer this year, but again, if I was delusional or got some sort of like supernatural superhero kind of capacity to read super fast, I would probably try to get this read ASAP. Poetry. I have this collection of poetry that I love, and I love to kind of dip in and out of. It is a pretty hefty collection. It's Mary Oliver's Devotions. I don't go through poetry collections like books, kind of open them up and read a few at a time. It's a big book, so I am counting it because even if I don't read it from start to finish, but if I just pick it up and read some from it, it's 442 pages. So it's just working my way to getting this one, all the poems in this collection read. Maybe cheating, I'm counting it. It might be an ongoing Big Book Summer poetry collection that I keep coming back to because it's a big collection. So until I get all of them read, then it'll probably always be in my pile of big books to read in the summer. Going off of that, so that's one that I've already started and I'm going to continue to finish. I'm also reading Middlemarch by George Eliot, and that I'm doing a year-long reading of it. So yeah, that is a big book and it's just in rotation. I'm not always going to be talking about it, but it's always one of those books that I'm always reading a bit at a time. And then this is another one that I started and haven't finished, and it's huge. And it's El Tiempo Entre Costuras. I think the English title is Time in Between, and it's by Maria Dueñas. She's a Spanish writer, and the page count for it is 634. I started, haven't finished. It's a historical fiction, so this one might be good if I could get the audiobook and try to fit it in for historical fiction as well, but it might be too ambitious. I don't know. But it's a possibility. And this one's not going to get read, but it's on my shelf and it's a big book, and at some point I'm going to want to get to it. And that's Ruth Oseki's book of Form and Emptiness. It's been a while since this book was it won an award. I think it won the Women's Prize, didn't it? I purchased it before it was announced as a winner. But it is 546 pages. And I read the other Ruth Oseki book. I put the title in here. I can't remember it. The one with the water bottle and the two people, the character in Asia and the character in, is it the North American continent, Canada? Is it? Can't remember. Or Alaska? I can't remember, but it's really messing me up in my head right now, not being able to remember that title. But anyway, I really enjoyed that book, and I want to read this book at some point. So that's how excited I am about Big Book Summer. I have a whole bunch of big books that are on my shelves, and some I'll be reading fully, and some I'll probably be dabbling in. And I think the joy of reading is just to be a dabbler. I love dabbling and picking things up and setting things down and just taking my time and reading slowly. And so we'll see how much I dabble this summer in big books. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what big book you're most excited about. Oh, I forgot one. I am reading a big book and I don't have it. I have it on audio, and that is this is also for June on the Range. Larry McMurtry, Streets of Laredo. I don't have it. I have the audiobook, and I'm going to be listening to that for June on the Range and Big Book Summer. So let me know what big book you're most excited about, and I hope to talk to you again soon. Hasta la próxima.